Your daughter will never be a pilot. A white mistress slaps her maid. Years later, her daughter lands the presidential jet at the estate, live on global news, to bring her mother home in glory. The rain poured down, hammering on the red-tiled roof of Green Shade Manor in southern Bella country. The sound was sharp, like firecrackers. Inside, the manor was lit up bright, crystal chandeliers reflecting off champagne glasses. A group of well-dressed men and women sat around a long table, laughing and chatting. This was the social hub of the white elite, a fortress of privilege left over from colonial times. Meanwhile, in the corner of the kitchen, Alma Kona was quietly polishing silverware, her hands cracked and whitened from the water. She had been a maid here for 20 years, from her teenage years into her 40s. Tonight, she had secretly brought her daughter, Nadia. The girl was 12, wearing a faded school uniform and shoes that had been patched 3 times. She wasn't supposed to be here, but Alma wanted her to see another kind of life, not their mud hut, not the dry fields, not the daily 5-kilometer walk for water. She wanted her daughter to know the world was bigger than what they knew. Mama, what's that on the wall? Nadia whispered, her eyes shining like stars. Alma followed her gaze, a yellowed old photo of a black man in a pilot's uniform, standing next to an old propeller plane. Below it read, First Black Pilot of Africa, 1957, Akrabi. That's a pilot, Alma said softly. A job where you fly in the sky, like a bird. Nadia held her breath. I want to be a pilot. Alma's heart clenched. She didn't answer. She knew that in this house, those words would be laughed away like dust in the wind. The people here looked at her daughter with pity from above. Just then, a scream came from the living room. Madeline. Vanderloo, the lady of the manor, granddaughter of a Dutch plantation owner, was glaring at her 5-year-old daughter, Isabella, who had spilled orange juice all over the tablecloth. You stupid girl. Madeline slammed her hand on the table, making Isabella burst into tears. Alma quickly pulled Nadia forward. Go, get a towel. Nadia ran to the kitchen, grabbed a clean towel, and hurried back. But just as she was about to hand it over, Madeline looked up and saw her. A black girl, standing in the middle of her living room. Who let you in here? Madeline's voice was ice cold, like a knife scraping glass. I'm my mother, Nadia stammered. Get out. Madeline suddenly lunged, snatching the towel and slapped Nadia hard across the face. Time froze. Nadia stumbled back, blood trickling from her lip. She didn't cry. She just read at Madeline, her eyes burning like hot iron. People like you were born to scrub floors. Madeline hissed, breathing hard. Your daughter will never touch a plane. She's not even allowed to dream of it. The room fell silent. The other white guests sipped their drinks, pretending not to see. Only little Isabella stopped crying. Ring in horror. Alma rushed over, pulling Nadia close, tears streaming silently. Madam, she's just a child, get back to the kitchen. Mama, Nadia finally spoke, voice rough. She said, I don't deserve to fly. Alma hugged her tight, burying her face in her daughter's hair. Don't hate, child. Hate burns the heart. But I want to fly, Nadia whispered, tears and fire in her eyes. I want them to see how high I can go. Ama couldn't answer. She knew in this country, a black girl becoming a pilot was harder than finding water in the dry season. Flight school was expensive, shoal airships are and most went to the city elites. And she was a maid's daughter. Outside, the rain kept falling. Beyond the manor, the grasslands flashed under lightning. Far away, a silver light streaked across the sky, a night flight heading to the capital, Akrabi. Nadia watched until it disappeared into the clouds. The next morning, Alma went back to work as usual. Nadia sat alone on the back steps, clutching a torn-out magazine page of a Boeing 737 taking off. On the back, she had drawn a crude plane and scribbled, I will fly. Then, footsteps. It was Isabella, Madeline's daughter. The little girl shyly held out a chocolate bar. I'm sorry, she mumbled. Mama shouldn't have hit you. Nadia looked at her but didn't take the chocolate. Your mama said. I was born to scrub floors. Isabella shook her head. But Grandma says, every person has a soul color, not a skin color. Nadia froze. She hadn't expected a 5-year-old to say something like that. Why does your mama hate us so much? She asked. Isabella looked down. She says black people are really lazy, stupid, can't fly planes. But the first pilot in Africa was black, Nadia said, pointing to the photo on the wall. Isabella's eyes widened. Really, really? Nadia stood up, folding her drawing into her pocket. And I'll be the first woman pilot. She walked away, her steps firm. The wind ride the scent of wet earth and rain. Days later, the mother and daughter returned to their village in the North Sankara, place with no electricity, no running water, where children ran via food on red dirt. Their mud hut leaked when it rained, forcing them to catch water in buckets at night. Alma dug out an old silver bracelet from the bottom of her chest, her mother's tribal wedding jewelry, engraved with an eagle symbol. She sold it to a passing trader and came back with a tattered book, Basic Principles of Aviation. Mama, this it's too precious. Nadia hugged the book, voice shaking. Alma smiled. Books are better than silver. You read, you fly away. Nadia opened the book full of English words and complicated diagrams. She didn't understand a single thing. But every morning before dawn, she listened to BBC Africa's English lessons on the radio. She wrote down words she didn't know and stuck them all over the walls. The village kids laughed. Nadia thinks she's a bird, the elders shook their heads. Girls should not waste time reading. Only Rulos, the old chief's grandson, supported her. He loved tinkering with radios and generators. He helped her build a flying machine model out of scrap metal and kites. Rulos pointed. The wind lifts it, like hands lifting a child. Nadia nodded. If I can fly, I'll take a picture of the village from the sky. Then you gotta learn English first, Rulos said. I'm learning. She flipped to the last page of her notebook, where she had drawn a plane and written, I'll show the world a black girl can fly too. That night, the storm returned. Nadia sat under the dim oil lamp, turning the pages of her book. The wind rustled the door curtain, and a night owl swooped past the roof, its call sharp and clear. She looked up through the window. The clouds split open, revealing a few stars. Wind, she whispered. Wait for me. The pages of the old book fluttered slightly, as if answering her promise. Dawn in Sankara village, the mist still clinging to the air. The red dirt path was already alive with footsteps. Nadia, a water bucket strapped to her back, walked with her mother Amatau Ardita. Well, 3 kilometers away. As they walked, she silently repeated the English words she'd scribbled down the night before: wing, altitude, lift. Each word was like a seed, planted in the stubborn soil of her heart. Back in their mud hut, Alma lit a fire to cook corn porridge. Smoke curled through the cracks in the roof like a pale gray snake. Nadia poured water into a clay pot, then pulled out her treasure, the tattered Basic Principles of Aviation book. The pages were yellowed, edges curled, some parts eaten by insects. But to her, it was gold. Mama, how do you say aerodynamics? She pointed at the complicated word. Alma shook her head. I don't know these things. But I know when the wind comes from the north, the eagles fly highest. Nadia smiled. Then I'll wait for the north wind. Days passed. She helped her mother plant corn, pull weeds, feed the chickens. At night, she studied by the dim light of an oil lamp, save the well, Alma always rned. Don't ruin your eyes. But Nadia often stayed up late, falling asleep with the book in her RMS. The village kids didn't understand. You think reading will put food on the table? A boy herding cattle laughed. Come fishing instead. Nadia didn't argue. She knew dreams were luxuries here. Most girls married at 14, had babies, spent their lives by the king fire. Her cousin Amina had married a 40-year-old man last year for 1 cow and 5 sacks of corn. You want that? Alma asked her once. Nadia shook her head. No. Then you have to fly, Alma said. So high they can't even see your footprints. One evening, Nadia found Rulos at the village entrance, hunched over a broken radio. What are you doing? She asked. Fixing it, he said without looking up. This thing can hear the outside world. Nadia crouched beside him. You understand English, a little, he grinned. I sneak. BBC science programs. Her eyes lit up. I'm learning too. They smiled at each other, two dreamers in a world that didn't believe in dreams. From then on, they became a secret study group. Cielos taught her basic circuits, she taught him English words. Together, they built a flying model from scrap metal, kite cloth, and bicycle chains. See, Cielos pointed. When wind blows underneath, it lifts, that's lift. Nadia gasped. Is that the Bernoulli principle from the book? Exactly. Cielos clapped. You're so smart. Their first test flight crashed into the mud. But they kept trying. On the third attempt, it glided 10 whole meters like a clumsy, stubborn bird. The village elder saw them and hobbled over. What are you children playing at? We're making something that flies, Cielos said. The elder shook his head. Our ancestors spoke to the wind with eagle feathers, that was the god's way. Don't reach for the sky. Nadia looked up. If eagle feathers can fly, why not metal? The elder froze, then walked away without a word. That night, Nadia lay on the ground, staring at the stars. The sky was so clear, the Milky Way like a silver river. Cielos sat beside her. You know, he said softly, our tribe has a legend. The first pilots weren't machines, they were people. They made wings from eagle feathers, jumped off cliffs, and let the wind carry them. What happened? Nadia asked. The wind changed. They fell. Cielos paused. But their souls became stars, still flying, even now. Nadia was quiet for a long time. Then she whispered, maybe we don't need wings. Maybe we just need to listen to the wind. Cielos looked at her. You're like that star. Which one? The brightest one. Just then, a beat-up jeep rolled into the village, kicking up red dust. A missionary in a blue robe stepped out, waving flyers. Good news, he shouted. In their language. The African Girls in Tech scholarship is open. English training, science courses, top students can go to the National Aviation Academy. Nadia pushed through the crowd, grabbing a flyer. Her hands trembled. Age 12-18. English interview required. Can I do this? She asked the missionary. If you dare to dream, you dare to try, he smiled. But it's tough. Only 10 spots in the whole country. She clutched the paper like a lifeline. At home, she told Amma. Her mother was silent for a long time. Then she reached under the bed and pulled out a small cloth bundle, the last of her money, a few old coins. Take it, she said. Buy books. Buy pens. Buy lamp oil. But this is for your medicine. I'm fine. Alma patted her chest. If the heart's strong, the body stays strong. Nadia hugged her, tears falling. Mama, I'll fly us out of here. I'll show you a real plane. From then on, her life became a race against time. She woke before dawn to memorize words. Recited grammar or rules while working. Practiced English with Cielos at night, writing in the dirt with sticks, using corn kernels as punctuation. Hello, my name is Nadia. I want to be a pilot. Good morning, control tower. This is Nadia, requesting takeoff. They repeated the phrases like prayers. A month later, the missionary brought an old tape recorder with BBC English lessons. Nadia listened over and over, until she could recite every word perfectly. But reality was still a wall. The village chief called a meeting. A girl studying tech, nonsense. She should learn to weave, cook, be our children. Alma stood up. My daughter will read. No one stops her. The chief sneered. How long can a widow last? Long enough to see her fly, Alma said calmly. The meeting ended badly. But Nadia's name was sent anyway. The interview was in a Krabi, 800 kilometers away. Travel money. Lodging, clothes, each was a mountain. Alma secretly went to the next village to harvest corn, paid only in meals. Cielos' father, the blacksmith, gave them a piece of scrap metal to sell in town. Take it. Cielos pressed the money into her hand. Don't lose it. She held back TRS. The night before departure, the village was quiet. Nadia sat on the roof, staring at the stars. Cielos climbed up to join her. if I leave, will you remember me? She asked. You'll be like a shooting star, he said. Lighting up the whole savannah. She smiled. Then keep looking up. I always do. She pulled out her aviation book and wrote on the last page, I won't fly for them. I'll fly for everyone who was told you can't. The rainy season was ending. The grasslands were turning green. In the distance, night eagles cut through the moonlight, wings slicing the silence. Nadia closed her eyes. The wind whispered in her ears, the sound of takeoff. Dawn in Sankara village, the mist still clinging to the air. The red dirt path was already alive with footsteps. Nadia, a water bucket strapped to her back, walked with her mother Amatau RD the well 3 kilometers away. As they walked, she silently repeated the English words she'd scribbled down the night before, wing. Altitude. Lift. Each word was like a seed, planted in the stubborn soil of her heart. Back in their mud hut, Alma lit a fire to cook corn porridge. Smoke curled through the cracks in the roof like a pale gray snake. Nadia poured water into a clay pot, then pulled out her treasure, the tattered Basic Principles of Aviation book. The pages were yellowed, edges curled, some parts eaten by insects. But to her, it was gold. Mama, how do you say aerodynamics? She pointed at the complicated word. Alma shook her head. I don't know these things. But I know when the wind comes from the north, the eagles fly highest. Nadia smiled. Then I'll wait for the north wind. Days passed. She helped her mother plant corn, pull weeds, feed the chickens. At night, she studied by the dim light of an oil lamp. Save the oil, Alma always Erned. Don't ruin your eyes. But Nadia often stayed up late, falling asleep with the book in her RMS. The village kids didn't understand. You think reading will put food on the table? A boy herding cattle laughed. Come fishing instead. Nadia didn't argue. She knew dreams were luxuries here. Most girls married at 14, had babies, spent their lives by the king fire. Her cousin Amina had married a 40-year-old man last year for 1 cow and 5 sacks of corn. You want that? Alma asked her once. Nadia shook her head. No. Then you have to fly, Alma said. So high they can't even see your footprints. One evening, Nadia found Sia Rose at the village entrance, hunched over a broken radio. What are you doing? She asked. Fixing it, he said without looking up. This thing can hear the outside world. Nadia crouched beside him. You understand English, a little, he grinned. I sneak BBC science programs. Her eyes lit up. I'm learning too. They smiled at each other, two dreamers in a world that didn't believe in dreams. From then on, they became a secret study group. Sia Rose taught her basic circuits, she taught him English words. Together, they built a flying model from scrap metal, kite cloth, and bicycle chains. See, Sia Rose pointed. When wind blows underneath, it lifts. That's lift. Nadia gasped. Is that the Bernoulli principle from the book? Exactly. Sia Rose clapped. You're so smart. Their first test flight crashed into the mud. But they kept trying. On the third attempt, it glided 10 whole meters like a clumsy, stubborn bird. The village elder saw them and hobbled over. What are you children playing at? We're making something that flies, Sia Rose said. The elder shook his head. Our ancestors spoke to the wind with eagle feathers. That was the god's way. Don't reach for the sky. Nadia looked up. If eagle feathers can fly, why not metal? The elder froze, then walked away without a word. That night, Nadia lay on the ground, staring at the stars. The sky was so clear, the Milky Way like a silver river. Sia Rose sat beside her. You know, he said softly, our tribe has a legend. The first pilots weren't machines, they were people. They made wings from eagle feathers, jumped off cliffs, and let the wind carry them. What happened? Nadia asked. The wind changed. They fell. Sia Rose paused. But their souls became stars, still flying, even now. Nadia was quiet for a long time. Then she whispered, maybe we don't need wings. Maybe we just need to listen to the wind. Sia Rose looked at her. You're like that star. Which one? The brightest one. Just then, a beat-up jeep rolled into the village, kicking up red dust. A missionary in a blue robe stepped out, waving flyers. Good news, he shouted in their language. The African Girls in Tech scholarship is open. English training, science courses top students can go to the National Aviation Academy. Nadia pushed through the crowd, grabbing a flyer. Her hands trembled. H12-18. English interview required. Can I do this? She asked the missionary. If you dare to dream, you dare to try, he smiled. But it's tough. Only 10 spots in the whole country. She clutched the paper like a lifeline. At home, she told Alma. Her mother was silent for a long time. Then she reached under the bed and pulled out a small cloth bundle, the last of her money. A few old coins. Take it, she said. Buy books. Buy pens. Buy lamp oil. But this is for your medicine. I'm fine, Alma patted her chest. If the heart's strong, the body stays strong. Nadia hugged her, tears falling. Mama, I'll fly us out of here. I'll show you a real plane. From then on, her life became a race against time. She woke before dawn to memorize words. Recited grammar or rules while working. Practiced English with ciruelos at night, writing in the dirt with sticks, using corn kernels as punctuation. Hello, my name is Nadia. I want to be a pilot. Good morning, control tower. This is Nadia, requesting takeoff. They repeated the phrases like prayers. A month later, the missionary brought an old tape recorder with BBC English lessons. Nadia listened over and over, until she could recite every word perfectly, but reality was still a wall. The village chief called a meeting. A girl studying tech, nonsense. She should learn to weave, cook, be our children. Alma stood up. My daughter will read. No one stops her. The chief sneered. How long can a widow last? Long enough to see her fly, Alma said calmly. The meeting ended badly. But Nadia's name was sent anyway. The interview was in a krabi, 800 kilometers away. Travel money, lodging, clothes, each was a mountain. Alma secretly went to the next village to harvest corn, paid only in meals. Ciruelo's father, the blacksmith, gave them a piece of scrap metal to sell in town. Take it. Ciruelos pressed the money into her hand. Don't lose it. She held back TRS. The night before departure, the village was quiet. Nadia sat on the roof, STA ring at the STARS. Ciruelos climbed up to join her. If I leave, will you remember me? She asked. You'll be like a shooting star, he said. Lighting up the whole savannah. She smiled. Then keep looking up. I always do. She pulled out her aviation book and wrote on the last page, I won't fly for them. I'll fly for everyone who was told you can't. The rainy season was ending. The grasslands were turning green. In the distance, night eagles cut through the moonlight, wings slicing the silence. Nadia closed her eyes. The wind whispered in her ears, the sound of takeoff. The 800-kilometer journey took Nadia 3 grueling days. First leg, Ciruelos walked with her to town, where they hitched a ride on an open-back corn truck. Dust choked her lungs, every bump rattled her bones. Second leg, a rickety long-distance bus, packed with people and chickens, broke down twice. Final stretch, she wandered the streets of a krabi, clutching a map where the Aviation Academy might as well have been a mirage. She finally found her distant Aunt Auntie Abby, a cleaner living in the tin roof slum called Sunny Slope, which had neither sun nor slope, just sewage-filled alleys and rusted metal shacks. The house was a 10 squa meter room, 1 bed, a stove, cleaning supplies piled in a corner. You actually came, Auntie Abby sighed. That shoal airship, thousands are fighting for it. I have to try. Nadia hugged her book tighter. Next morning, she wore her best outfit, faded school uniform, repaired shoes. The interview was in a glass skyscraper so shiny she could see her reflection in the elevator doors. Her heart pounded. The waiting room was full of girls in pressed blazers and skirts, reviewing notes on tablets, laughing in fluent English. Nadia looked at her own hands, rough, calloused, red dirt still under the nails. You here for the interview? A girl in glasses eyed her. Janitor's entrance is downstairs. The panel had 2 white consultants and 1 black woman. Questions fired at her. Why do you want to be a pilot? Explain Newton's laws in flight. She answered slowly, heavy accent, stumbling over words. Your background isn't ideal, the male examiner frowned. You never even been on a plane. She lifted her chin. No, but I've dreamed it. I've read its principles, calculated its lift. I know how wind holds wings like I know rain grows corn. The panel exchanged doubtful glances, then the door swung open. A silver-haired black woman in a navy flight jacket, 4 gold stripes on the shoulders strode in. Evelyn Ogan, she said, voice steady as runway tarmac. Aviation BOA road advisor. First female pilot in Bella Country. The room froze. She locked eyes with Nadia. Child, tell me, if you flew up there, what's the first thing you'd look for? Nadia blinked, then answered, my village. From the sky, the red EARTH, Mama's cornfield. I want to see if it looks like a STAR from up there too. Something flickered in Evelyn's gaze. She turned to the panel. This girl's got wind in her eyes, that's the pilot's light. Evelyn pulled her aside later. They see where you're from. I see where you're going. Remember, up there, nobody asks your routes. Just if you can hold course. But training was AWAR, theory classes drowned her in jargon. Simulator drills left her lagging. Male cadet sneered, go back to sea Rhine water, village girl. Even the girls avoided her, she only got in through pity. She didn't fight. Just stayed up past lights out, studying by emergency exit signs, drawing instrument panels by hand, mouthing checklists like prayers. During the 3 kilometers fitness test, she collapsed. The instructor shook his head, weak body, wasted spot. Next day, she ran again. Day 5, finished. Day 10, top 10, Evelyn sometimes visited, bringing a battered notebook, my flight school notes. Fear or won't kill you. Quitting will. Nadia treated it like scripture, copying every diagram, memorizing every line. Her dear re-entry that night, city's cold. Skies WARM, keep looking up. 1 midnight, she stood on the training field, watching a jet's blinking lights pierce the STARS. She whispered to the wind, Mama. I'm in, now time to fly. 5 a.m. at a Krabi flight training base. The mist hadn't lifted yet when Nadia stood outside the simulator, clutching Evelyn's old notebook, mouthing the takeoff procedures. Today was her first real simulator test, the make-or-break moment for getting into actual flight training. Nadia Kona, the examiner called her name. She took a deep breath and stepped inside. The silver-gray dashboard glowed coldly, the yoke felt icy in her grip. The headset crackled, preparé for taxi, runway 27, wind 15 knots, visibility clear. Engine on her palms were soaked. The first few steps went smoothly, until the examiner suddenly bearked, left engine failure. Panic hit. All RMS Blair read, the plane veered wildly. She yanked the yoke back too hard and the nose shot up. The stall earning screamed, go around. Go around. She fumbled. The simulator crashed. The hatch opened. The examiner's voice was frosty, overreaction. Poor judgment. You're out. Nadia stood frozen, like her bones had vanished. Some cadets pitied her, others smirked. A male trainee muttered, village girl can't even handle a sim. Dreaming of rail jets, she walked out silently. Rain STA route falling. Under the eaves, she crouched, face buried in her knees, hugging Evelyn's notebook like a lifeline. Done crying, she looked up. Evelyn Ogan stood there, holding a black umbrella. I failed, Nadia choked out. Who hasn't? Evelyn sat beside her. My first solo, NEARLY clipped a mountain. Instructor called me a crazy black woman who shouldn't touch controls. Nadia STA read, they were wrong, Evelyn said, steady as runway lights. Fear or won't kill you. Letting it steer you will. You're not bad at flying, you're just fighting it. Flying's a conversation. With wind. With sky. With yourself. She handed Nadia a slip of paper, tomorrow. Private airfield. I'll teach you to listen. No simulator this time. Evelyn led her to the cracked tarmac, close your eyes. Nadia obeyed. Where's the wind from? Left, feels cold. Good. Now imagine you're an eagle. Wind lifts your wings, doesn't shove. Work with it. They drilled for hours. Evelyn even tied cloth strips to Nadia's wrists to train her to feel airflow shifts. Your tribe knows wind language. Yes, Nadia froze then remembered. Elders predicting dry seasons by the wind's dry rasp, sensing rains coming by its damp whisper. She'd used it to know when to harvest corn. So flying's like farming, exactly, Evelyn grinned. You're not sta rooting from zero. You brought wisdom with you. Nadia blended tribal wind sense into training when instruments showed crosswinds. She felt them like savanna gusts. She practiced checklists to West African drum rhythms, fast beats for takeoff, slow taps for landing. Even turned emergency drills into humming chants. One night test, dual engine failure. This time, she stayed calm. Glided with the wind like Evelyn taught. Simulator landed safely. Examiner actually nodded, better. But reality stayed RSH, male cadets excluded her from group drills. During partnered exercises, she got stuck with the worst trainee, a rich kid who bragged about his senator dad. He sabotaged their run, then blamed her commands were wrong. Instructor took his side. Nadia got a demerit, back in her tin roof shack, exhausted. Her aunt pushed a bowl of corn porridge at her. Don't kill yourself. Mama's waiting for me to fly us out, she whispered, then her phone rang. Nadia, her mother's voice was thin. Chest pains, clinic says old injury, no money for scans, TRS at the bedsheet. She wanted to go home but quitting training wasn't an option. Don't come back, Alma suddenly said. You fly well, I live long. Nadia bit her lip, bloody to stay silent. Overcast skies. Nadia taxied the Cessna 172, took off. Routine checks, then the tower shouted, Nadia. Drone at your 4 o'clock. They. She spun her head, a black speck racing tower RD her. Instinct took over. Right rudder, left bank like dodging a gazelle on the savannah. The plane lurched sideways. Missed by meters. Nice save, tower yelled, no time to relax. The drone was just some idiot's camera, but the NEAR misproved, real flying eats Sims for breakfast. She steadied her breathing. Finished the route. When Clea read to return, she radioed, request solo landing. Proved. Good luck, Kona. Flaps down. Throttle back. Crosswind from the right, she adjusted, letting it lift her like Evelyn taught. The wheels kissed the runway. Smooth roll. Full stop, headset off, her hands shook, but she was smiling. Applause crackled over the radio. Evelyn, clapping from the control tower. The instructor walked over, actually smirking. Kona, you lived. Stepping onto the tarmac, sunlight blinding, cadets SWA met her. One even offered a hand. Damn, that evasion was slick. She ignored the ones who'd mocked her. Looked up instead. A night eagle circled Tower RD the clouds. She texted her mom, did my solo. Next time you're flying with me. That night, she wrote in her diary beside Evelyn's notes, Xinghao, they say I don't belong here. But the wind knows my name. Xinghao. Outside the base, city lights glittered like stars. Back in Sankara village, Alma lay in her mud hut, smiling at her daughter's sky photo. She told Cielos, my bird, she's flying now. 早上6点 at Akrabi International Airport, the morning mist hung like gauze over the tarmac. Nadia stood in her crisp new uniform, the twin stripes on her epaulets catching the first light. First day is Bella Air's first officer assigned to the most remote route, the humanitarian flight from capital to drought-stricken north. Ready, Nadia, Captain Samia Bar of a man with a salt and pepper BARD clapped her shoulder. One of the few who'd backed her from day one. Ready. Her voice steady as runway concrete. The plane was half empty, mostly medics, volunteers, villagers returning home. No champagne in business class here, just patched up seats and retread tires. Yet to Nadia, this aircraft felt heavier than the presidential jet. It's ride medicines. Vaccines. Hope? As they climbed, she read down at the fading tapestry of red EARTH, dry riverbeds, scattered huts. Remembered Mama Alma's cough. The village children burning up with fever for lack of antibiotics. What are you looking for? Sammy asked. Sankara village. 2 hours away, he sighed. This land, 9 years drought out of 10. Half the government. Canals run dry. Nadia stayed silent. The suffering here never made headlines. Mid-flight, the radio crackled. Bella 207, emergency request from Keiru Clinic. Midwife in labor needs C-section now. No blood supply. Immediate evacuation. Sammy frowned. We're not equipped for medevac. She's the last midwife, Tower insisted. 30 expectant mothers depend on her. I can land it. Nadia's hands were already on the controls. Keiru's got a dirt strip. Weather's turning, Sammy WARNED. Radar showed thunderstorms brewing. 1 more hour, she dies. Nadia's eyes locked on the map. I know this terrain, walked it as a girl. Sammy saw the fire in her gaze. Your call. They banged RD into darkening skies. Rain lashed the windows as Keiru's runway up a two red dirt lines flanked by scrub brush. No lights. No tower, visual approach, Nadia breathed. Crosswind from the right, increasing. She flew manually, like following. Go trails home. The plane bucked violently. Passengers screamed. She gripped the yoke, adjusted pitch, aligned with the makeshift strip, touchdown. Sammy yelled, a cloud of red dust erupted as wheels met EARTH, taxi. Full stop, medics sprinted Tower RD the clinic with stretchers. Nadia stayed put, eyes on the gauges, engines idling. Ready to bolt if needed. An hour later, they loaded the unconscious midwife ABORD, her husband to FA with cracked hands knelt weeping at the cabin door. Save her, you save our whole village. Nadia hauled him up. Get in. Now. The storm hit like a sledgehammer. Lightning split the sky. Rain turned windows to frosted glass. The plane became a leaf in a hurricane, BP crashing, the medic shouted. We need smooth air or she won't make it. Nadia switched to backup systems. Remembered Evelyn's lesson, listen to the wind, she closed her eyes 1 second, felt the airflow's rhythm. Opened. Them. Adjusted, she flew to a West African drumbeat in her head. Steady press, lift, hold, a life or death dance with the storm, you're insane. Sammy white-knuckled his seat. Manual in this. Not fighting the wind, she never looked away from the windshield. Dancing with it. Miraculously, they broke through. Landed safely in a Krabi, the midwife survived. So did her baby, reporters SWA met the airport, Nadia Kona. Hero. Give us a quote. She shook her head. Not a hero. Just delivered medicine. Didn't matter. News exploded. Female pilot braves storm to save midwife, angel of the humanitarian route, first time her name graced national TV, but whispers followed the applause, forum posts, stunt for fame, retired pilots op-ed, rules exist for a reason. Anonymous letter to Bella Air, a maid's daughter representing our airline, Nadia just smiled. Mailed the clippings to Sanka Ari with a note, Mama, I fly for duty, not glory. Twice monthly, she volunteered for humanitarian runs delivering malaria meds to Massa, vaccines to Wuhan, water filters to Ngolo. Memorized every village. Even used drones to photograph settlements from above, printed the images for elders who'd never seen their homes from the sky. This my village. An old man trembled holding the photo. So small? So beautiful. Children clustered around her, touching her stripes. Sister, can we touch the plane? Of course. She gave cockpit tours. When you're big, you'll fly too. Even skeptical chiefs bowed after she delivered anti-malarials that saved a dozen kids. We were wrong. You're no outsider, you're a messenger. Her reputation spread like wind over grass. Evelyn visited, 30 girls just enrolled in flight school. All say because of Nadia. Not a role model, she laughed. Just held the door open. Not a door, Evelyn corrected. Skylight. Nadia. Solar or water pump installed. First steady supply Sanka Roz ever had. Kids say it's rain from the sky. They ask daily, when is pilot's sister coming home? I tell them, when the wind grows WARM, Sierra Los, she taped it to her flight log. Read it before every takeoff. Spotting illegal deforestation during a routine flight, she photographed it. Reported to environmental authorities. But the logging stopped. You're not just a pilot, Sammy said. You're a sky watchman. Just see further than most, she shrugged. Still lived in the tin roof shack. Still sent wages home. Turned down all endorsements except one, a video for the African Girls Education Fund. Standing on the runway, endless blue behind her, she said, I'm Nadia Kona, my mother was a maid, I'm from Sankara village, they said I'd never fly, but I flew. If they tell you can't remember, wind doesn't ask where you're from, only, do you thou respread your wings? The video went viral, wind doesn't ask origin trended nationwide, girls flooded the comments, I want to be you. Sta root English lessons. Mama says I can stay in school. Madeline van der Loo sat stiffly watching Nadia on TV holding village girls' hands as they approached a small plane, her fingers trembled. Remembered the slap. The hissed, you'll never touch a plane. She turned off the screen. From a locked drawer, pulled a yellowed photo her younger self in a Dutch flight school. She too had dreamed of wings until her father snapped, women don't belong in the sky. She'd buried that dream under layers of colonial arrogance. Rain tapped the windows. For the first time, she felt hollow. Around a nighttime fire, villagers clustered around a phone speaker playing Nadia's video. My daughter, Alma whispered, TRS glinting in the flames. The elder drummed a blessing chant, fly, daughter, let wind be your road. Stars your lanterns, EARTH always waits for you. Overhead, a night eagle circled then vanished into the boundless RK, dawn in Akrabi, sunlight pierced the morning haze, gilding the presidential palace dome. President Amina Bello of Bella Country collapsed mid-stride in the Giarden's chest seized by a vice-like pain. Darkness swallowed his vision before he hit the ground, the president is down. WARDS shouted, ECG results screamed acute myocardial infarction. Immediate medevac to Europe required. The nation slipped into silent emergency. Allah RMS wailed, Bella 1 prepped for takeoff, the commander Bierked. Major Olu's out family emergency. Recur now. Who's left? The adjutant asked, 3 names on the shortlist, the commander scowled at the roster. But Minister Lillian Bello insisted only the steadiest hands. Someone who knows emergency routes cold. A young lieutenant hesitated, what about Nadia Kona? The room froze, her, a co-pilot, an Air Force colonel scoffed. A woman, and let's not forget her background. She took the humanitarian flight through that thunderstorm last month, the lieutenant countered. Manual landing with 0 NAV aids, beginner's luck. The colonel slammed the table. The president's jet isn't a training toy. She's never even touched Melita regrade systems. The debate reached Lillian Bello, the president's daughter, tech minister, reformist firebrand. Fresh from the African Women in Innovation Summit, she held a report highlighting Nadia's name under aviation breakthroughs. Bring her in, Lillian ordered. Nadia was drilling cadets when the summons came. Expecting another medevac request, she walked into the presidential situation room and froze. Generals. Diplomats. The weight of the nation's gaze, Lieutenant Kona, Lillian's voice cut through the tension. My father's life hangs in the balance. Can you fly Bella 1? Silence sharper than cockpit glass, Nadia inhaled. If the nation trusts me, I won't falter. You've never flown a modified 737, the colonel exploded. That bird systems could, I've studied the manuals, Nadia kept her voice level. 80 hours logged in sims. I can handle emergencies. She's a humanitarian poster girl, not combat material, someone sneered. Lillian raised a hand. Gentlemen, she said, icy calm. My father always said, true courage isn't storming ahead, it's holding course when the sky falls. Nadia Kona flew through a cyclone to save a midwife. Landed a failing plane manually over Kairou's dirt strip. She may not be your textbook choice, but she's Bella Country's best choice tonight. Xinghao, she turned to Nadia, will you CARY our nation's hope? Nadia's spine straightened. For the president. For Bella. The military threw everything at her. Ring sim sessions where instructors screamed engine fire. Hijack attempt. Sleep-deprived drills replicating transatlantic comms blackouts, political briefings on the global optics of a maid's daughter piloting the head of state, she failed. Repeatedly. Got up. Repeatedly, Evelyn found her clutching a flight manual at 3 a.m., can't sleep, if I mess up, Nadia's voice cracked. He dies mid-flight. Then don't think about saving him, Evelyn said. Xinghao, think about the next checklist item. The next altitude adjustment. Flying isn't about playing hero, it's about doing the next right thing, one step at a time. Xinghao. Nadia taped her mother's photo to the simulator dashboard. RD, news leaked, Bella president gravely ill, succession crisis looms. Opposition factions pounced, regime hiding the truth. Social media erupted, a maid's kid flying the presidential jet, joke of the century. Last rescue was staged, now this political theater. Nadia powered off her phone. Pre-flight checks. Ignore the noise. Then a call from Sankara. Nadia, Alma's voice was thready. You're flying, the president. Yes, Mama. A long pause. Then don't look down. The higher you fly, the safer I feel. Nadia's TRS fell hot. When I land, I'll take you to see the ocean. 4 点 at the airbase. Bella won a silver 737 emblazoned with the national crest, waited under floodlights. Nadia donned a flight suit with 3 temporary gold bars. Acting captain, Lillian gripped her hand, live broadcast. The world is watching. I'll bring your father home, Nadia promised, not just home, Lillian's eyes burned. Bring him back with dignity. For every girl told she can't. The boa riding stairs retracted, as Nadia climbed into the cockpit. A shooting STAR streaked overhead, billions held their breath as Nadia keyed the mic. A Krabi Tower, this is Bella 1, presidential transport, requesting. Clearance, destination, London Heathrow, mission, to reclaim our light. Runway lights ignited like a pathway of STARS, engines ROA red. The jet rolled 4-way RD, Nadia advanced the throttle smooth, steady, at V1 speed, she pulled back, Bella 1, airborne. The silver bird pierced the dawn, contrail gleaming, in Sankara village, Alma knelt in the dirt, face tilted east. Cia Rose cranked a Sola, our radio broadcasting, president's jet now en route, piloted by Lieutenant Nadia Kona, the entire village clustered around the static-filled transmission. At Green Shade Manor, Madeleine Vanderloo's coffee cup shattered on the tiles. Impossible, she whispered at the TV footage, but the jet had already vanished into the clouds. Cia ride by winds that no longer Cia read whose wings they lifted. Bella 1, entering international airspace. Heading 270, altitude 35,000 feet. All systems normal. Nadia's voice crackled through satellite comms to a Krabi command. Inside the cabin, medics monitored the unconscious president while Minister Lillian clutched her father's hand, eyes never leaving his face. On global live streams, the silver jet cut through dawn over the Sahara. Headlines blare red, Bella president emergency evacuation, female pilot at helm of national crisis. Xinghao, Nadia takes flight trended worldwide. Some cheered. Others sneered, she can fly out of Africa, but not her destiny. Nadia kept her focus on the instruments, letting the co-pilot handle comms. Outside, endless golden dunes stretched like SCARS, Evelyn's words echoed, storms don't kill flights, panic does. Denala RMS shrieked. Capital warning, navigation failure. GPS offline. Backup systems flashed red, inertial guidance compromised. What the co-pilot blanched, Sola our magnetic storm, Nadia snapped. High-energy particles frying global avionics. She slammed systems. To manual override, gripping the yoke. Compass spinning. Altimeter erratic, Mayday. Requesting ground assist, the co-pilot radioed London, Bella 1, we're blind too. Advise divert or return. Nadia yanked out paper cha RTS, Evelyn's last resort drill sheet memorized. Cross-referencing STA, positions and landforms, she pinpointed their location, Mali airspace. No turning back, she said flatly. Oxygen reserves, 8 hours max. But that's in Cha route airspace. And the co-pilot pointed ahead. Black clouds swallowed the horizon. Lightning flickered like fangs, then encrypted signal. Lillian's voice, urgent, Nadia. Coup attempt in Krabi. Rebel troops hold the capital, our home runways lost. Silence, the medic whispered, he won't survive another continent. Nadia's pulse hammered, but her hands stayed steady. She established an aerial command link Lillian coordinating loyalist forces from London while she flew blind, new destination, Lillian said. Sankara Air Station Northern Backup Strip. But it's abandoned. No NAV, no tower. Nadia's breath caught, Sankara. Her village. Her mother's home, that dirt runway lived in her bones. I know it, she said. I can land. It's a one-way strip. Crosswinds hit 35 knots, the co-pilot protested. No fire crews, no, I said I can. Nadia donned her headset. New heading, 045. The jet banked into the storm. Turbulence rattled the cabin, the president's stretcher straps groaned. Lillian knelt, lips moving in prayer. Nadia closed her eyes listening. Like under Sankara's stars, she felt the winds push and pull. She flew to the rhythm of West African drums, banked hold lifted dance with death itself, 20,000 feet. Zero visibility. Scan terrain radar. The screen flickered a red-brown ribbon. The Sankara River. The runway lay 2 clicks east, hair down. Flaps. 30. Visual approach now. They burst through clouds. The strip appé read a dirt slash flanked by brush, a hillside looming at the end. Wind shear earning screamed, unsafe. Abort. We'll die, the co-pilot yelled. No, Nadia said, iron in her voice. My mother's waiting. She angled the wings, letting the crosswind lift one side. Every adjustment precise like calculating planting seasons back home, touchdown. Tires hit dirt. The jet bucked, kicking up a dust storm. Reverse thrusters ROA red. The hillside rushed closer. 50 meters. 30. Full stop. Silence. Then cheers. Medics SW Air Med. Soldiers loyal to Lillian loaded the president into a jeep that had raced there overnight. Nadia stumbled onto the runway. Kneeling, she kissed the red EARTH, Mama. I'm home. Villagers sprinted to RD the plane, it's Nadia. She brought the president. Alma limped for ARD, TRS cutting through wrinkles, my bird. Flew back to me. Then global feeds went live. The world saw the silver jet parked on a dirt strip, the black female pilot kissing the ground, Melita Reed truck speeding the president away, newscasters lost composure, miracle landing. Pilot Nadia Kona saves president amid coup and solar storm. In London, Lillian collapsed into an envoy's ARMS, she did it. In Akrabi, loyalist troops counterattacked. Rebels folded, at Green Shade Manor, Madeline's wineglass slipped, staining the rug blood red as she read at the screen. Finally, she understood, that slap never broke destiny's wings, the real storm wasn't in the sky, it was in the HRTS that doubted her. Bonfires lit the village. Elders droned a blessing, she returned from clouds, be a ring a nation's hope, not for glory, but to bring her mother home. Nadia sat by the flames, watching stars. Sia Rose handed her tea, you flew higher than eagles, he said, yet landed, she smiled, right where I root. Beyond them, Arbella one gleamed under moonlight a great metal bird come to roost. The wind stirred then, brushing over, her mother's TR-streaked face, the red soil of Sankara, every sneering voice that ever said you can't, and whispered back, but she did. President safe in Europe nation celebrates, the president's successful surgery made headlines worldwide. Bella country's government announced the coup leader's arrest, restoring order. Meanwhile, Arbella One's emergency landing became legend studied in aviation schools from London to Nairobi. Media crowned Nadia, Angel of the Red EARTH, Valkyrie of the Storm, her name now on the UN Women's Summit speaker list. Akrabi International Airport rolled out the Red Sea Air Pet. The First Lady herself pinned the STAR of national courage on Nadia Bella's highest honor, never before given to a woman so young. Cameras flashed like lightning. Reporters shoved mics in her face. Lieutenant Kona. Weren't you terrified? Is this a win for all women? Will you join Emirates or British Airways? Nadia stood on the podium, medals gleaming. She ignored the glory questions, lifting the Awa RD to the cameras. This isn't just mine, it belongs to every girl studying in a mud hut, every mother walking 5 miles for water, every person who whispers I can. And I'm trading it for one request. The crowd hushed. Rebuild the Sankara Aviation Academy. Let every girl touch the sky. Minister Lillian choked up. Within 72 hours, the Savannah Eagle Initiative was approved a state-funded flight school in Sankara, prioritizing rural girls and minority women. The village erupted. Elders called it God's answer. Villagers clear red land with BA hands. CEOs drafted solar-powered blueprints, texting Nadia. We'll build it like an eagle's nest, roots in soil, eyes on clouds. Nadia hit the road, speaking in slums, straw-roof schools, never preaching revenge, just hold on. At one school, a tiny girl raised her hand. My dad says girls shouldn't study. What do I do? Nadia crouched to her eye level. Tell him when you're flying overhead, he'll have to look up to see you. The girl beamed. Documentary crews filmed her in Sankara pounding corn, teaching kids ABCs, walking dirt paths like she'd never left. From mud huts to clouds trended globally. Letters flooded in, I want wings like you. First 30 Savannah Eagle trainees included a former child miner, a fisherman's granddaughter, and a nomadic herder's daughter. Their applications all said, if Nadia flew, so can I. Madeline Vanderloo locked herself in her study, digging out old flight school photos, her abandoned dream crushed by her father's women. Don't belong in cockpits. Watching Nadia's medal ceremony, her hands shook. That slap. Those words, you'll never touch a plane. She hadn't been hitting Nadia, she'd been hitting her younger self. That night, an anonymous donation hit the Savannah Eagle Fund. The note, repayment. Then the call, Nadia. Alma's voice was a thread. I can't breathe. Village doctors shrugged. Europe or nothing. Nadia called Lillian. I need a favor. Arbella 1, for my mother. Silence. Then, approved. And Lillian's voice cracked. The president insists on personally repaying your flight. Q national uproar. Taxpayer abuse. Political stunt. Nadia faced cameras once, not privilege. Promise, she gave me life. I'm giving her health. Sankara immobilized. FA swept the dirt strip with palm front brooms. Elders sacrificed a goat for safe passage. CEOs rigged landing lights from truck batteries. At Green Shade, Madeline watched news helicopters circle her former maid's village. The headline, presidential jet to land in slum for a maid, she shattered. Ripped up old documents, the scholarship denial letter she'd signed years ago. Wrong, all wrong. Nadia wrote by Alma's sickbed. They said we're born to scrub floors. Today, the president's plane lands, for a floor scrubber. Outside, a night eagle soared over the savannah, wings slicing moonlight. The wind ride a new scent, not dust, not blood, but change. Savannah heat before the rains. The air in Sankara village hung thick with tension. Villagers had spent days rolling the dirt runway smooth with stone grinders, flanking it with Bella's national flag and hand-stitched eagle banners. Children rehearsed welcome dances in their cleanest clothes. Elders LED prayers to the drone of drums. Come home, daughter. The wind has paved your path. The RTH opens. It's ARMS. Inside the mud hut, Nadia clutched her mother's bony hand. Alma's breathing was shallow, flickering between consciousness and sleep. The village doctor shook his head. If she doesn't leave now, Mama, Nadia whispered. Arbella 1 is coming. The president's jet to take you to the doctors. Alma's eyelids fluttered open. A faint light sparkled in her clouded eyes. Too precious, don't waste it. No waste, Nadia choked. You gave me 20 years, I'll spend my life repaying you. She stepped outside, squinting at the cloudless sky, perfect flying weather. Yet her chest felt tighter than before a storm. This wasn't just a medevac. It was symbolic justice. The girl once slapped for dreaming would now land the nation's most powerful aircraft on the very soil where she'd been told you'll never touch a plane. News vans crammed the village. Square. Jinghao, Arbella 1 to Sankara trended globally. Reaction split, haters. A maid on the presidential jet, absurd. Political theater. Defenders, she saved the president, who else deserves this? Look at that runway dug by hand. That's dignity. Madeline Vanderloo, you hearing this? The wind's talking. At Green Shade Manor, Madeline sat frozen before the TV, watching Sankara's children wave flags, Nadia scanning the horizon. Her coffee had gone cold. Suddenly, she stood. Walked to the garage. Fired up her vintage Mercedes, the one with the green shade keychain, and pointed it north. She had to see this impossible landing herself. 5 o'clock. Arbella 1 gleamed under dawn light. Minister Lillian pinned a temporary captain's insignia on Nadia. No co-pilot this time. Just you. Nadia nodded. I'll bring Amakona home safe. The world's watching, Lillian said softly. Not just a plane landing. A nation's conscience touching down. A last-minute letter from Cia Rose waited in the cockpit. Nadia, runway ready. Sola our lights ma RK the edges kids say it looks like STARS spell to YARTH. Mama keeps asking when you'll come, I tell her, when the wind grows WARM. Well, wind's here, Cia Rose, she taped it beside her controls, the landing he rode round the world, live global feed, millions held their breath as the silver jet descended, Sanka RAPOV, villagers craned their necks. The plane banked Shah RPLY 30-knot crosswind fighting its wings, Nadia's hands danced on the yoke, flaps 40, right rudder. Steady, touchdown. Wheels hit dirt. Brakes screamed. A red dust storm swallowed the aircraft as it skidded to a stop meters from the cheering crowd. Silence. Then ROARS. Elders beat drums. Children surged for ARD singing She Returns from the Clouds, BA ring no crown only her mother's name. Nadia emerged not in her flight suit, but a hand-woven tribal dress from Alma's loom. She knelt, pressing her lips to the runway. TRS dripped onto red soil. Mama, she whispered. I'm home. Medics lifted Alma's stretcher. The old woman's eyes fluttered open at the sound of engines. My bird, she rasped. You brought the wind, Nadia squeezed her hand. Yes, Mama. Wind's here. Unseen by cameras, a black Mercedes parked at the village edge. Madeline stepped out in plain clothes, no PRLS, no GUA RDS, she watched, the jet kissed dirt where maids were supposed to scrub it, the woman she'd slapped kneeling like a queen. The stretcher Cia Ryan, the lowly servant she'd once berated, wordlessly, she unclasped her diamond watch, the Vanderloo heirloom, and laid it on a village stone, then walked away, shoulders slumped. Inside the cabin, Nadia buckled into the jump seat beside Alma's stretcher. Ready, Mama, we're flying. Engines ROA red. The jet raced down Sanka Ra's handmade runway one last time, lifting off as villagers waved. From below, Nadia Sta read through the window as her birthplace shrank to a red speck. Wind, she murmured, finally swept clean that shamed EARTH. 1 year later, the wings of Sanka Ra, the first rains of the season, had turned Sanka Ra's red EARTH. Brown. Saplings swayed in the wind where the abandoned runway once lay, now transformed into the Savannah Eagle Aviation Academy. The school's gray-white buildings, built with local mud bricks and solar panels, bore rooftop murals of night eagles in flight. On the tarmac, girls in light blue flight suits practiced ground signals under an instructor's watch. The ceremony buzzed with life. Elders drummed, dancers twirled in traditional robes, and banners proclaimed, from Sanka Ra's soul to the sky. Nadia stood at the podium, 4 gold stripes now gleaming on her shoulders, Bella's deputy director of aviation, overseeing flight safety and women's training. She wore no uniform. Just her mother's hand-woven shawl. This isn't my victory alone, her voice Cia right across the savannah. It belongs to every Alma Kona, every mother who held up homes with silent love, whose hands kneaded dough but never stopped dreaming. In the front row, Alma healthy again, seated beside Cia Rose, now head of the SOLA, our engineering team, clapped softly, TRS in her eyes. Nadia turned to the first 30 recruits. We don't teach hatred here. We teach flight. Not how to bow, but how to look up. The girls marched 4-way RD, their badges reading. I'll fly medevac missions. I'll build village drone teams. I'll train others like me. Nadia pinned each with a silver Night Eagle badge, inscribed, Wind doesn't ask where you're from. Remember, she said, you're not here to escape home. You're here to return at the sky's perspective. In flight theory Yiling Yi, Nadia sketched a crude plane on the BOA RD, repeating the vow she'd scrawled. Years ago, I'll prove black girls can fly. A small hand shot up. Teacher, my dad says girls can't reach the clouds. Nadia crouched to her level. Tell him the wind doesn't know girl or boy, only if you're brave enough to spread your wings. The child beamed, stars in her eyes, as the sun dipped. Nadia walked the freshly paved strip. Cialos joined her with tea. Tired? He asked. Full, she smiled. Mama ate 2 bowls today. Says she'll walk to next year's ceremony. Cialos nodded at the horizon, where a trainer plane RCD against the sunset, its pilot a former shepherdess whose father once scoffed, books won't feed goats. Beat-up jeep rumbled into the village at dusk. Out stepped Madeleine Vanderloo, hair white, dressed in plain cotton, clutching a toolbox. She bowed deeply to Nadia. I've come to repay my debt. Inside the box, flight simulator PA RTS and her youthful pilot's journal. Let me volunteer, she whispered. If you'll allow it. Nadia extended a hand. Welcome, Ms. Vanderloo. The sky refuses no one who seeks it. At dawn, Nadia faced her students on the tarmac. Today, we don't fly machines. We fly here. She touched her chest. See that cloud, like an eagle? Yes, close your eyes. Feel the wind's rhythm, its push, its pull. True flying STARTS here. The girls' laughter ribboned through the air as their trainer plane soared, etching silver lines across the sky, a net woven of dreams. Final scene. A night eagle glided past the academy, wings outstretched. Nadia's voice echoed over the savannah. Xinghao, they say we're made of dirt, but dirt is where roots grow, where the wind rises, that's home. Xinghao.